Hello friends, welcome to BYJU'S IAS. I am Akshay Agrawal. I am All India rank 43 in Civil Service Examination 2018. In this video, we are going to talk about the strategy to crack preliminary examination. First of all, let me tell you about the book list for preliminary examination. Preliminary examination has two papers which are taken in one single day. The first paper is the paper called General Studies, and the second paper is called as CSAT, which is Civil Services Aptitude Test. Both the papers are of 200 marks. In preliminary examination, paper 2, which is CSAT, is of qualifying nature, which means you only need to have 33% marks in this examination to qualify. That is, out of 200, you need to score at least 67 marks for you to qualify the prelim examination. Your merit or your qualification for the mains examination is decided on the basis of the paper 1, which is General Studies. Now let us talk about what is there in both of these papers. First, we'll start with paper 1, which is General Studies. If you see the UPSC syllabus, you will see there are these broad topics in the syllabus. First one is your History of Modern India. Second is Indian Art and Culture. Third one is Geography. Fourth is Economics. This is more of Indian economy. The fifth one is Environment and Ecology. Sixth one is Polity. And seventh one is General Science. Now we'll see one by one how we should prepare each of these subjects. For History of Modern India, we have two sources that should be followed. First one is the book by Bipin Chandra on India's struggle for independence. This book will give you a glimpse of the Indian national movement right from the 19th century till the attainment of our independence. And let me tell you that this book is written in the form of a novel, in the form of a story, and while you are reading it, you will understand what exactly was the political, economic, and social situation when India was in its freedom struggle. Hence, this book becomes very important for your mains answer writing as well, along with the preliminary examination. The second resource for History of Modern India is the book on Modern History by Spectrum. This book is meant for UPSC preparation and covers topics taken from different resources pooled together in one book. It is a very small book and can be read in a matter of 1 week. Make sure that you make notes out of this book because this book contains a lot of factual information and you may want to note them down in your notebook. The second topic in paper 1 is Indian Art and Culture. Indian Art and Culture is one topic where you will find the maximum diversity. In this, you will find questions related to art forms like dances, music, paintings, theatre, etc. For all of these, there are many sources available, but I had followed the source called CCRT. This is a government source, and in this you will find aspects of Indian culture related to all of this. Apart from this, there are various material available in the market, and if you can find that these topics are covered in those materials, then those materials could also be followed. Here, the second part that comes is Indian culture. In Indian culture, again, It involves dances, music, but at the same time, certain festivals, plus clothing, plus religious paintings, etc. For this, again, the source by CCRT as well as any other source that is available in the market that covers this can be useful. I had followed Nitin Singhania for some of the portions. Now let's talk about geography. For geography, the best source is the NCERT books. I had followed NCERT books from class 6th to 12th. In this, you will see that the books of the lower classes like 6th, 7th and 8th standard are repeated in higher classes, which is 9 to 12th. However, these books cover sometimes very good factual information. And what you can do is, when you are reading these books, you can highlight this factual information given especially in the boxes and maybe note them down in these books so that you have all the information that is relevant covered and also noted down in these textbooks. Now from these textbooks, most important books that are 11th standard NCERT and 12th standard books. In this, you will see physical geography plus human geography covered. And if you see, the questions coming would usually from the physical as well as human geography in the prelims. For geography, the second aspect that is the most important is maps. For maps, you can follow any atlas that is available in the market, but one that I found most useful was the Atlas of Oxford publication. At the same time, for map reading, you may want to do a lot of Google map searches. If there is anything that is going on in the international politics or in the international society or maybe in India also, what you can do is you can simply have a Google map view of that area. Look up what are the physical features of that area, whether Tropic of Cancer or Equator or Tropic of Capricorn or any other important longitude or latitude passes through that particular city or that particular area. What are the geographical importance of those areas? What resources are found in those areas? What are the rivers flowing in that area? Is there any biological hotspot in that area? So different aspects of that particular area you can see from Google Maps as well as a lot of Google searches. So map preparation has to be very dynamic. What I had done was I had prepared my own set of maps, had them printed from the Google Maps and noted on those maps itself if there was any particular geographical feature. For example, last year, if you remember, in Myanmar, which is a neighboring country for us, the Rakhine state was in news. What I had done was I had taken a map of Myanmar. In Myanmar, I had pointed out where is the Rakhine province and what are the geographical features of Rakhine province, where does it touch India or Bangladesh, and which river, if any, flows through this state. Likewise, you can do for all the news and events that are present in that particular year. Now let's talk about economics. It is mostly Indian economy and issues related to development. In this, first of all, economic survey is the most important source. Most important. Economic survey has two volumes, volume 1 and volume 2. Volume 1 covers policy issues and analysis. So this is more of a research kind of document. This is a research document. Whereas volume 2 presents the state of Indian economy. In this, you will find loads of information, facts, and data. You may not want to remember everything that is there, but try to remember important data like GDP, investments, foreign trade, NPAs, which is in the news, etc., as well as inflation. One thing that you can do here is you can make your own trend graphs when you look at the data in your notes. For example, if the current account deficit of India, you see the data for last 10 years, and if you find that it has been fluctuating, and in the preliminary exam, if the question comes as to the current account deficit in India has been steadily increasing or decreasing for the past 10 years. Now you may not remember every fact or every data point that is there in the economic survey, but you can always remember a graph. So what you can do is, if you find some data, you can make your own graph and see the trend. Now this picture of graph will be there in your mind at the time of examination. So if any question of this sort comes, you can simply remember this graph that you have prepared and answer the question very easily. Second aspect of economics is some technical stuff. These can be covered from NCERT books of 10th to 12th class. The best source to cover technical stuff is your Google. If you find any technical word in the news or when you are reading any source, what you can do is you can Google that particular word and see its meaning. There are many websites and many resources that are available. One that I would like to suggest, in fact, two that I would like to suggest are Investopedia, and second one is indianeconomy.net. I heavily relied on these two resources to see any technical terminology that would come my way. Now let's talk about environment and ecology. In environment and ecology, we see there are two major portions. One is your environmental issues. These may be global or domestic. By global, we mean global warming, that is greenhouse gases emissions, and domestic may be pollution. Second part is your ecology. In ecology, you cover different ecosystems, species found, their IUCN status, different national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, and biological hotspots in India. For the first part, which is the environmental issues, you can follow any material that is available in the market, because this becomes a very dynamic preparation and you need to mostly rely on current affairs to cover these topics. Another good resource that you can follow for environmental issues are the websites of international agencies like UNFCCC, etc. On these websites, you will find useful current information and what is the status of different environmental conventions and issues. These environmental issues also cover many international treaties, and these can again be followed from any material that is available in the market. For ecology, you can follow textbook of biology of class 12, last 4 chapters. In this, all the concepts related to the ecology would be covered. Secondly, to cover different ecosystems and species, again, you can make use of maps. So you make a map of India and denote where are the different biological hotspots or national parks that are located in different states of the country. What species can you find in each of these national parks and wildlife sanctuaries? This is because the picture can remain in your mind for much longer time than remembering stuff without drawing maps. Now let's come to the next subject, which is polity. In polity, if you see, there are mainly 3 to 4 main parts. First is making of the constitution. Second one is central government or the union government. Third one is the state government. Then comes the local government and different constitutional and non-constitutional bodies in India. All these topics can be covered from just one resource, which is book by Lakshmikant. You don't need to go to any other book for this particular subject. Secondly, current affairs are again very important for this subject as well. Make sure that you read Lakshmikant book, which is a bit thick, at least 2 to 3 times before your prelims exam. In the first reading, you understand the things. In the second reading, you highlight important stuff. And then in the third reading, try to remember what you highlighted. The more you revise polity, the better it is, because this is one subject from where you will see at least 20 to 22 questions coming every year. Most of the questions check your conceptual understanding, and therefore understanding things becomes very, very important. Now the last part of preliminary paper 1 is general science. Although general science can be very broad, it can cover literally everything, right from chemistry to biology, physics, everything. If you see the trend of UPSC, they tend to ask you questions from mainly the following. First one, space technology. That is ISRO plus different defense technologies like missile systems, etc. Second one is nanotechnology and biotechnology. The third favorite topic of UPSC is diseases. And the fourth one is new technologies in energy and efficiency improvements. Usually people follow NCERT textbooks for this, but it is not really necessary. What you can do is you can follow these topics from current affairs like the Hindu newspaper plus monthly compilations of current affairs that are available in the market. You may want to Google certain terminologies and see the applications of different technologies in news. This was about preliminary paper 1. Now let's move to paper 2. As I said, paper 2 is civil service aptitude test. In civil service aptitude test, you will find two major portions. First one is English and second one will be the quantitative part. As I earlier mentioned, this paper has now become qualifying and its score doesn't really count in your final merit. So you need to score only 67 marks out of 200 to qualify in this examination. Now, here you will find 80 questions for 2.5 marks each, which gives you a total of 200 marks. Out of these 80 questions, nearly 30 to 35 questions would be from English and nearly 40 to 45 questions would be from quantitative part. In English, the questions are on reading comprehensions. You will find passages written in simple English, and then there will be one or two questions asked after every passage, and you have to answer the question based on the reading of the passage. These reading comprehension is really very simple because they keep it at the level of class 10th, and hence it is very easy for you to follow what is written in the passage. One important thing that I would like to highlight here is that in this reading comprehension, you will find questions like, what is the theme of this passage? Or what is the central idea of this passage? So they'll replace this word theme maybe with central idea or core idea or message or inference. So they can give you any word, but basically the question would be this. And therefore, you need to read the entire passage, which is of about 80 to 120 words, understand the meaning fully, and then answer the question. There would be very few questions that would check your grammar in this part. And therefore, you don't need to worry if your English is not good. Also, the good part is the Hindi translations are also available in the question paper. So if there is any English word that you cannot understand the meaning of, you can always read the Hindi translations and then go ahead with the question. This is about the English part. Now let's talk about the quantitative part. In quantitative part, you will see questions coming from simple algebra, data interpretation, logical reasoning, and simple mathematical principles of 10th level. The good thing is, in this you will not find questions on trigonometry. There will be no questions on geometry, advanced geometry, and therefore you can leave all your worry about these difficult concepts from mathematics. For preparing all this stuff, you can follow books like IAS Agrawal, or if you are comfortable with this, you can simply join a test series and solve the questions in the test series. The best way to prepare the quantitative stuff as well as English for CSAT is to look up previous year's UPSC papers. What I had done was, I had solved paper for 2015, 16 and 17 1 week before my exam. Since I was comfortable with quantitative stuff as well as English, I did not follow any particular book to prepare. But for people who are a bit scared of math as well as English reading, you can follow any particular test series, make a good practice, and then go to the examination.